Oh, thank you. Okay, so we are up to the bottom of, right? We're on the bottom of Peyamid base. So cool. The Mishnah says we're 5 lines up. We almost finished the parak. Yeah. Next parak's a lot of agadata. We haven't had agadata in a long time.
We give you some.
Yeah. For cool and shamru tol eshacha. So if a guy, meaning what do you call him yesterday, Rabban? The repairman, not the repairman, the
tradesman.
The what?
Tradesman, I think, or
craftsman.
The
craftsman. Yeah. So thank you. The craftsman.
Hey, Byron, I listen to you even when you're not when I'm not on.
Yes. Anyway, so what happened is
they finished the job. He gives it, takes it. Hey, here's your watch. Give me the money. That's right. The case. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So the thing is like this. So it's going to be totally from this Gemara, and what was the terminology that the craftsman used when he told the guy to pick up his item. So the Mishnah says, he first said, take your thing, right? And then give me money. So if he says that, then he's a shar mechina. Because he told the guy, listen, come here and pick it up, and that's it. I don't want anything to do with this. He's not getting paid to watch his things anymore. Right? Yeah, so there's an Gemara says, Tanan Hasam, Amar lo shoyel. If the shoyel says shalach, send me the thing, meaning a guy is going to borrow, let's say he's borrowing a computer. So he says, send me the computer. So the guy sends a computer in an Uber, and then the Uber crashes. Whose responsibility is it? I'll tell you like this. I'll tell you more. I don't know why I use that one. For some reason, Baruch Hashem, it hasn't happened for a while, but for a bit, I think more around Corona time, because women were not going to the sheitel machers, or they sent their sheitels, and the sheitel machers sent it in the mail. Right? They sent their sheitels in the mail, and of course, we know how the mail goes. But this ain't no $20 Amazon, toasted or whatever, George Foreman or Betty Crocker. This is a sheitel we're talking about. Is a few grand, and the sheitel doesn't show up. Right? So now, whose responsibility is the sheitel? Right? Like a sheitel mach is a craftsman. Right? And Mamela, they said, send it to me. So they sent it. So now the question is it still in the craftsman's hands until it's in the craftsman's hands until it gets delivered to the person, or not, or once the person says send it to me, so that's it. So that's what the Mishnah says. Tanan Hasam Amar le shoyel shalach. If the shoyel says this case, we're going to compare it also. What?
Doesn't matter how she sent it. FedEx, Post. You can insure it. You can insure it in the post office for $5,000. You can insure it FedEx for $5,000. They were
what do you call it? They were insured. So I don't remember exactly what the issue was. One of them for sure was insured. I don't remember if it was a pain to get the money from the insurance or I don't know exactly. You had to prove it. I think they didn't have a proof. Meaning, oh yeah, that's what it was. The mailman had a proof. He said, I left it on your porch. He says, I hear whatever. They took the picture or something. I don't know, whatever it was. They had a proof that they dropped it off, and then it wasn't there. Something like that. So anyway, so Amar le shoyel shalach. So let's say you're going to borrow a wig from somebody. So you say, do me a favor, send the wig with somebody, the shilcha, and it gets sent. Umesa. And then it dies. Obviously, it's talking about an animal. So chayiv, he is chayiv, meaning the shoyel, the borrower is chayiv, because when the shoyel said, send it to me, that means the minute it left the hands of the mashal, of the lender, it became the shoyel. So that's it. The shoyel's on the clock. And the same thing when he gives it back. Meaning, if the lender tells the borrower, "Send me back the animal," the minute that animal leaves the borrower's hands, it's considered like it's in the rishus of the person it's headed to. Right? Yeah. So that's what the Gemara's. So that's what the Gemara is saying now. So then Amar, we're gonna have to see because some of it's not gonna change exactly, but the scenario might change. So Amar Rafa Bar Papa Amar Chista Loishanu Ela Shezira B'Seichi Meishei Lasa. That's only if he's paying it back before the end of the term of the loan. But after the days of the borrowing, then you are potter, right? Because the loan was over, right? Because he's no longer a shaymer. So sort of that's how we get into it from our Mishnah, because our Mishnah is saying that once the repairman or the craftsman says to the guy, pick it up, so then that's it. He's a shomer chinam. He's not considered that he's getting paid to watch the thing. So Maser Rav Nachum Bar Papa, the Kulan Shamru, Tal Es Shalcha V'Havei Mas, in all these cases that he says, take your item, right? The craftsman. What do you call him? Did we call him craftsman? Or that was your name? What was Peretz?
Yeah, craftsman, yeah.
Peretz said a different
tradesman. Peretz said
tradesman. A tradesman is zikr now, right? A craftsman. Yeah. So Tol as Shalcha V'Havei Mas is to take your money, take your belongings, and bring money. So Shem Mechinam is a Shem Mechinam. On to Aleph now. Ha Gemartiv. But if he just said, I'm done, right? Meaning you get the person, the dry cleaners or whatever, the shoe repair calls you up and says, come here and pay for your thing and take it, right? Fine. So then we're saying that it's a shaymer chinam. Mashma, if they just called you up and says, by the way, your item is done. They don't say anything about payment. Mashma, that he's still
understood.
What?
It's not self-understood that when you're bringing something in that they're going to want payment?
No, yeah, that's self-understood, but they're saying like right now, we don't mind watching it for you. That's what I think. Meaning if he says, come here, pay for it, that means the action is over, meaning our deal is over. Come here and pay for it. If he just says it's done, so then
you get a text from the dry cleaners.
Right. But then if you just say it's done, so then it's almost like it's still under their thing.
It's their domain. They'd send you a text. They basically want you to come pick it up.
Yeah, but they're still, meaning it's still, their job is not done yet. Only once he says that he's come pay for it and pick it up, then he's sort of saying, our deal that we arranged between us is done. Now you want me to hold on to it? Now I'm a shomer chinam. Right.
But once he's a shomer chinam, he's saying if something happens, it's tough luck on you.
Well, that's what a shomer chinam is, no? So
yeah, right. You don't pick it up now, it falls down and breaks. So that's tough luck. No,
but okay, but that was, let's see. That's the dia. Called Gemara to shomer sachar. So Gemara, what's the shaila, right? So from the Mishnah, you see that he's the default is that he's considered a regular shomer. So Mamela, when somebody borrows something, then he is going to be achroi on it, right? Even after the loan is done. Meaning that sounds like we're equating when the loan is over to when the item is repaired. Right? And we're saying that once it's over, so then the person that's in control of it doesn't want to watch it anymore, right? So, but here you see that he's still considered a shomer sachar. And in the previous brisa, we said that he's not a shomer sachar. It's done once the terms of the loan are over, then he's no longer responsible. So it's a stira. So when it says loy, that's not the diak to make. Meaning here he's saying the opposite way. He's saying the mashma that bring your money and then take what's yours. Then that's right. Meaning in the Mishnah, it was take your thing and pay. Here it's pay and then take your thing. Then he's a shomer sochen. Right? Yeah, because he's still holding on to the thing. He's saying when you bring your money, then it's going to be yours. Masha Enkain, if he says take it's yours, and then by the way, bring money. I don't know if he says the word by the way, then he already gave up on the original deal. Yeah, so the Gemara says Ava Gamartiv Mai, but it's mashma. Then if he just tells him, by the way, your item is ready, Shomer Chinam, that means he's a Shomer Chinam, Ihachi. So then, if that's the case, at the Tani Bekulan Jamru Tola Shechav Avimai Shomer Chinam, this that you said that the case is in all situations. If he says take your item, and then he says bring money, then he's a Shomer Chinam, Nashminon Gemartiv. Why don't you just say a simpler case, which is I'm done with your thing, it's fixed, and then Vakosha came Tola Shalcha, and then for sure if he says Tola Shalcha, so our answer is no. Tola Shalcha Etzrichale. We need the case. We need to specifically say the case where the craftsman said to the owner, take your item. Salka daita chamina, sharmechinam nami loyhavi. A sharmechinam is not. Right? Meaning he's not even a sharmechinam, meaning he's a nothing. Because a sharmechinam is at least chayev for a pshia. But if he told the guy, if you didn't say, meaning if you just say gemartiv, then we might think when he says come take it and pay money, we might think, okay, I am absolved of any sort of achrayas. Kamash Malan, it's telling you no, he still is going to be chayav if he's a peshay, right?
Let's say the dry cleaners. That's a good case, and he's a good customer of his. So he always gives him, tons of cleaning kit. And he says, oh, I'm going to the Catskills now for 6 weeks. So I don't need this stuff. Can you stay in your store? He says, yeah, I can stay in my store. So
again, what are you saying?
He's a very good customer, this guy. He gives him hundreds of dollars of business a year. And when seasons change and he goes to he goes either to Catskills, he goes to Miami with Eretz Yisrael, so he lets him keep it in the store because the guy doesn't need it. He doesn't need the clothes for the next 6 weeks.
So then,
what? Machlokes in Bava Kama about that, no? Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Tanakama, whether the owner of the store needs to accept shmira on it, or just the fact that he allows it in is accepting a shmira.
Okay.
Again, which case are you talking about, Gershon?
When someone allows you to keep stuff in your property, is that an automatic accepting of shmira, or do you actually need to say the words "and I accept the shmira"? Now we had a machlekes in a Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda and Tanakama.
Yeah, but that's totally, and if what he says.
Right. So Rabbi Yehuda holds, even if he doesn't say anything, it's still a Kabbalah Shmira.
As long
just
as
the fact that he allows him to have it there is a Kabbalah Shmira.
Right. So we're gonna have to see the sugya a little further, how that works. That's gonna be on a base. Well, it's not gonna be exactly the same. But it reminds me, aren't there stores that say they put up a sign and say anything that's unclean? Don't you see that in the cleaners? Like if you don't come within 30 days,
whatever they have different.
Whatever the fishbite is. We know yeshivas have it, which we already discussed in Elam Metzias. We don't know where that comes from. But right, some stores say if you don't claim your stuff for 30 days, then it becomes hefker, because they're sort of saying I'm no longer a shomer, which is what the Gemara's. And meaning what it's saying is that's what the Gemara's Havamin is right here.
Yeshiva's got it from the dry cleaners. They want to take you to the cleaners.
Yeah.
I'll tell Reb David you said so.
What? Reb David? I don't get it. All right. Anyways. So that's what we're saying. Ikadamri, another version of this. Amar Rav Nachman bar Papa Afana Nami Tinina V'Kulan She'amru Tol El Shalcha Bava Mois, and all these cases where it says take yours and bring money, Shemechinam, he's Shemechinam, my love, who adin gemartiv. Right? Before we were saying mashma gemartiv, not like that. Here we're saying, oh no, gemartiv would be the same thing. Then he's going to be a Shemechinam. So when it says loy tala shalcha shani, taking, when he says take your own thing, then that's different. Right? So again, it's the same maskana sadvar. Fine. Huna bar is a Huna mar bar maremar kamed Ravina. Right. So when he was sitting in front of Ravina, Rami Masnisan Adadu Mashani, he had a stira from two mishnahs on each other, and he answered him. Tanan Bakulan Shamru Tala Shachava Vaimais. Right. One is our mishnah, where it says in all the cases where the craftsman says, take your thing and bring money. Shamachina, he's a Shamachina. Who adin legamarti. Like we just were Medaik. And the same thing if he didn't say the payment part, he just called the guy up and said, your thing is ready for pickup. For Ramino Les Yastira, Amrloi Shoyel, Amrloi is another tongue twister. Amrloi Shoyel Shalach. If the Shoyel says, send me the thing, the Shulcha, and he sent it, Umesa, and it died. Chayev. So then he's chayev, like we just learned on the bottom of a base. Sending with Machzira. So it's essentially a repeat of the kasha we just had, right? We're saying that when the craftsman saying that the item is ready is the equivalent of a borrower saying, send me the item, or the lender saying when the loan is over, send me the item. So in one place, we're saying that he's a sharechina, and the other place was saying that he's not. He's more of a, well, I don't know exactly what type of shmira it is, but he's chayiv. Mashani, that's only when he's returning in the middle of the loan. But after the days of the lending, then he is potter. Right? Just like our Mishnah. Once he tells him, I mean, he's potter from everything except for pshia, right? He's gonna be if he's what do you call pshia? If he's lax, there's a better word for it. Negligent, yeah, thank you. Negligent. Fine. He boiled as a shiloh. Potter
Mishnah takes Metzia. That's just Einus he potter for.
What?
The Mishnah's lashon is Umesa. Why did the Mishnah choose Einus?
Well, the Gemara is
really...
right. No, the Gemara is going to ask that in a few lines, but I don't know if it applied to the same Gemara here. Okay, let's see. Yibaylu, say Potter Mishael. Right, so this is the question. Potter Mishael v'chayev k'shem b'sacher. He's a potter, meaning he's potter for being a shayel, because the shayel is the worst. He's chayev on everything, right? Even einsim, but he's chayev like a shomer sacher. Idum a shomer sacher nami lehav, or maybe he's not even a shomer sacher. He's really just a shomer chino. So Rameir Mistabra Potter Mishayel, he's Mistama, he's Potter from a Shayel, and Chayev Kishomer Sacher, and he's Chayev like a Shomer Sacher. Hoyel Benena Mehana Hava. Why? Why is this Shomer Sacher? Because since he got Hana, the Mela, he's willing to give back Hana too. Right? Meaning, since the Shayel, either the Shayel or the craftsmen, they had hana from this thing. So Mamela, they're willing to use that as a shtickle hakoras hatoiv. So Mamela, it looked like that they were paid. Right? So Tanya Kavaseda Meimar Halekech Kalim Beis. A guy takes Kalim from a store, the Shagron, the Beis Chamav, and he did this as a it's like anytime a guy wants to buy jewelry for his wife, you go to the store, you risk buying something. You say, you know what, but I'm bringing it back if she doesn't like it, or when she doesn't like it, right? So this is exactly what happened here. But here they were engaged. So like, when he took Kalim, the Shangla to send them to his father-in-law's house, And he says to the owner, if they buy it from me, then I'll pay you. And if not, I'm going to still give you some money for the toivas anah, meaning because I come off looking good because I sent presents to my kala. So I'm getting some sort of benefit from it, even if they don't like it, but they see that I at least tried. Right? I don't know if that applies anymore, Bisman Hazeh, but that rule, but that's what he said he's going to pay for the Venensu, and then it became there was an einus that happened when he was schlepping them to the in-laws. Bahalicha chayiv. So if the einus happened when he was on the way to the in-laws, then he's chayiv, and he has to pay for everything. Yeah. So because he was a shimer on it. The chazira potter, but when he's on the way back from the in-laws and the in-laws didn't like it, then he doesn't have to pay. Why not? Because he's like he's a shomer sacher, meaning the first way he's chayav on everything, right?
Why is he a shomer sacher?
Because he's
not paying what it's worth. He's paying toivas anah. He's paying a fraction.
Because he got paid. He got paid, so he got hana from it, right?
The store owner's gonna get paid.
Right, but he was nene from these things. On the way there, he wasn't yet nene from it.
Right.
On the way back, he was nene because his in-laws say, "Oh, look, what a nice guy! He came by with, even though we hate whatever he bought, but he's a nice guy."
Loses because
he's not losing. It's just a matter of what type of shomer is. He's a shomer sacher, right? But Ken, it's chayiv and einsim. It wasn't his fault. It was an einus, right? So in the first way, he's a shayel, so he's chayiv. And the way back, he's not a shayel. He's a shomer sacher. Not everything in Choshen Mishpat works out according to our seichel, right? Which is a good thing. Yeah. So fine. So now the Gemara says, "Who gavra the zaman lechamra lechari?" There was a guy who sold a donkey to his friend. Amar le, he said to him, I'm going to take it to this place. This is what we call consignment. Right, he says, give me the donkey. I'm going to go sell it over there. If I don't sell it, I'll bring it back to you. So if not, I can't sell it. I'll bring it back to you. So Azal, the law is davna, so he went and he couldn't find anybody to buy it. Bahadi de Kaasa, on his way back, it became an einus. Also, look at Rav Nachman. Chayiv Rav Nachman said he was chayiv. Right now, he was on his way back here, and Rav Nachman said it's chayiv. But before, on his way back, we said he's potter from again it's einsim. So it's a stira.
Why is it a stira? He didn't give any toivas anah here. Before he had toivas anah, so that's why on the way back he had anah. What anah did he have?
What do you mean? Okay, let's see what's that. So let's see. So Esvei, let's see. So Gemara says Esvei Rabbi Rav Nachman Nentu Balicha Chayiv. If he became an einus when he's going there, when he's going to his in-laws, he's chayiv b'chazara potter. Because it's if he's getting paid, right? So it's a stira. So Amrulay chazara dahai halichahi. The chazara, the animal here, when he's on the way back, the reason why he's chayiv is because if he's still going. Why? My time svara, who is just a svara. On his way back, if he finds a guy he meets a guy on the street, and the guy says, "Oh, you got a for sale sign on that donkey. How much you want for it?" And he says, and then he'll sell it to him. So even on the way back, it's as if he's still on the way there. Right? Meaning by the in-laws case, when the in-laws said they don't like, when the kala says she doesn't like what he gives, so then the deal is over. Now he's bringing it back on behalf of the store owner. Here, he's not. The deal's not over because he'll gladly sell this chamor to anybody who makes an offer for it. It wasn't like that he had to sell it in the place that he meant to sell it. You can always sell it on the. This one does not have to do with the Tavas Anah. No, that's what we're saying. He's still considered Shomer Chinam. Fine. Shomer Li ve'esh melach Shomer Sacher. So if one guy says, you watch my thing and I'll watch your thing, so it's just Shomer Sacher. So now before we say that, Gemara says something called, and really we need this for the 8th parak, which is in a week and a half as the Shem. So we have to try and remember this. There's something called Bail of Imai.
Oh, yes.
Which is that when you borrow something anytime you take something from somebody else, if you do work together with him, right? Meaning if they work together on it, then that's considered Bailav Imai, and he's not chayiv an oinsim for sure. We'll see exactly what he's not chayiv, but it becomes much more mekel. Not necessarily the easiest thing to understand, because I don't know if I borrowed something from a guy, so that's it. Meaning, I'll tell you the practical application of this is two kids are playing basketball, right? Being in a summer camp helps a lot to understand this stuff, not to paskin it. In summer camp, I just say, there's an 800 number for Choshen Mishpah, just call them and figure it out. But to understand the sugi, you got two kids playing basketball on the court, right? So they're playing with each other. Then one kid decides he wants to go back to the bunk. So the other kid says to him, can I borrow it? Right? So he says, yeah. And then he loses the ball, of course. So now, is that considered Bailav Imai? Because they were playing ball together.
Wasn't there when you borrowed it?
What?
Wasn't there when you borrowed it?
Well, it depends. Well, first of all, it's not necessarily true, but even let's say if they're playing and the guy says to him, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. He says, okay, I'm borrowing it after. Then they play. Let's go with that case. So that is a shaila, is that Bailav Imai? And then you can get into, is the kid a ball on his ball anyways? Maybe it's his parents. Okay, shine. But what these are the things. So Bailav Imai totally downgrades the achrayus of the person who borrowed. That's or is watching it. So here, what happened? The Mishnah says, I tell Naftali to watch something with me. Yeah.
When you're davening in a shul, you're not a member. If you're a member, then you have partial ownership of all the svarim. You're davening in a shul, you're not a member. And the rav of the shul or the president of the shul is that Ba'alav Imai. If you rip the sitter while he's there in the same minyan as you, would that be Ba'alav Imai?
Is that called Bailav? No, you have to have an agreement. I think you have to have an agreement.
What's the lumdus for that Ba'alav Imai?
It's not so simple, the lumdus. I started looking into it today, and I looked into it, and I totally forgot. I forgot what it is, the lumdus. It's a pasuk, yeah. It's based on a pasuk in the Torah, but is there a lum? There's got to be a lum. It's not a chayk. Not a chayk, right? I think the lumdus has to do with something where it's not totally your responsibility from the get-go. Right, so Mamela, it's not considered like it's totally yours, but then the shaila is, why doesn't it kick in later?
Could it be that maybe the Ba'alav Imai is when the guy knows that the owner of the object is with him, he'll have more respect for it, he'll take more care of it. So that's the natural thing, because the owner's standing there looking at you, and someone's not going to neglect the object in front of him.
You said, right?
That
But the
could
problem
be
is
Ba'alav Imai, so that could be Ba'alav Imai. So the guy's not going to do so. Then he's partner for that. He's not doing it intentionally.
Why is he partner? He's still bargaining, Benny. Still bargaining.
Okay,
after
but the
guy
guy's with him,
leaves.
good. Yeah, but he's going to treat it with more respect. You get into a car from a car rental, and the owner of the car rental is sitting with you. You're going to drive the car more carefully. The minute the guy goes out, you can just run it through the ground.
Yeah, but the reason why Shelas Chayv is Einstein is because he has all the Hana and he's not paying anything for it. So I don't know if that's going to help that Svara.
Just thought maybe it's a Svara, maybe that the Ba'alav Imai, the guy will have more respect for what the object is.
Yeah, all right, could be. It's not really okay. We'll have to see in Perak Hashoyel, because that's really where the sugya is. Anyway, so the Gemara is saying here, if I'm watching something from Naftali and Naftali's watching something from me, so then what's Ba'alav Imai? So why, right? So why are we saying that he's considered a Shomer Sacher? Right? It should be V'amai. So Gemara asks, V'amai Shmiras B'Bailim, Shmira B'Bailim, it's Shmira B'Bailim, right? Samar Papa, Damarle, Shomerli Hayoim, Bashmalach Lamachar. See, that's what gets technical. He says, I watch my thing for me today. I'm saying, the guy tells you, I'll watch your thing today, and the next day he watches mine. So it's on 2 different days. So therefore, they were never working for each other at the same time. Fine. So Tanu Rabbanim, Shmar li v'eshmar lach, right? Watch for me and I'll watch for you. Hishilani v'ashilach, you lend to me and I'll lend to you. Shmorli bashilach, watch it for me, and I'll lend you something. Hishilani, or you lend me, and I'll watch for you. Meaning any of these combinations, kula nasu shomer socher, they're all shomer socher. They're all considered like getting paid because each one's helping each other out, and each one's gaining from the watching. So that's as if they got paid. Okay, so when it's about my shmir b'bailim, it's considered shmir b'bailim. So the Gemara says, "Amar Papa, Damarle, Shomerli Hayim, Bashmalach Lamachar." Same teretz. I'm going to watch for you today, and then you watch for me tomorrow. Fine. Hanu Ahalu.
Why are those second two cases not a problem with Ribis?
Well, I imagine they're going to do the same. They're going to lend the same things. No. You're saying one is free and one is for pay.
Yeah. But either way, they're different jobs, no? Do they consider the same job? It's not like Ed or we had in the last mission.
Wouldn't it depend? Wouldn't it depend what they're watching?
I don't know. If it's a different job, technically.
Why is it different job?
Borrowing something and watching something is not the same thing. The borrower happens to be
I'm watching your thing today, and you're watching my thing tomorrow.
No, that's the first two cases is fine. But the second two cases is I'll borrow from you and you'll watch my stuff. Or I'll watch your stuff and you'll borrow from me. Those two cases are different things. Why isn't that like
because you're borrowing a hammer that's worth $9.99 and you get paid $9.99. The person who watches that product for 6 hours gets paid $9.99. It's the same $9.99.
Yeah. But we said in that Mishnah, even if the values are the same, it's a problem. It's a different job.
No, but there was
There was fakir. The same job, even if the values are different, is not ribis, but a different job, even if the values are the same, is ribis.
Right.
So this is a different job. This should be ribis.
I don't know if it's considered a different job.
Because we call them both shayrim?
Yeah.
Shayil is the opposite of a seicher. I mean, of a shayim.
I hear. I don't think it's a problem, but I'm not right now.
It's not a problem, but I just,
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask, it's Shmir B'Bailim. Oh, we did that already. Fine. Next story. Hanu Aluye. So Aluye from the word all means soap. Not from the tent. Means soap. The Kol Yoima, meaning that has nothing to do with the story. It has nothing to do with what we're trying to learn out from the Gemara. It just happened to be a bunch of guys that sell soap. The Kol Yoima have a api lachad mina. Each day one guy cooked for everybody. So so one day they said to one of them, Zil Apilam, go cook for us and bake for us. Not really glima. He said, okay, you got to watch my jacket. Get too hot. Take my jacket. But before he even came back from cooking, there was a pshia. They were negligent, and his jacket was stolen. So now, what's the story here? Are they chayiv on einsim or not? If they're shomer socher, they're chayiv. If it's they're potter. If they're shomer chinam, then they are potter. And if it's bail of imoy, then they're also going to be potter. It's also going to be Rapapa chayivinu. Rapapa said they're chayiv to pay for his jacket. Amrulei Rabbanon the Rapapa, so Rabbanon to Rapapa, my pshia b'bailimi. It's pshia b'bailim. Right, meaning because he was cooking for everybody. Right. So Mela, they should be potter because it was bail of iman. So Ichsif, he got embarrassed. Rapapa was embarrassed because of his psak, because Lachari made a wrong psak. So L'Saifik Lai Milsa da Hu Shaita Shikra Hava Kashasi. He was drinking beer. I guess he can't drink beer and cook at the same time. So he was drinking beer. He didn't yet start cooking on behalf of the people who were watching his jacket. So Mamela was not bail of iman. So Rapapa had siyata deshmaya that he gave the right psak, even though Ba'atam he didn't give the right psak, but it ended up being the right psak because the situation was a little bit different than the way it was described. Right? Okay, so then Gemara says potter. So in also in the eighth parak there's a machlokes whether if you're negligent, do you still have the patur of bailavim? Meaning bailavim, you'll have the patur from the other like einsim, gnei aveda, and all that stuff. But pshia, that's not enough. Bailavim is not enough to get you out of if you were totally negligent to get you out of paying. So that's a machlokes. So according to the mandam, when it says you still potter even for that, so then fine. That's why he was embarrassed. But according to the mandam, that says he's chayiv if he was negligent. Amai ichsif. So why was he embarrassed? So our answer is Allahu Yoima on that day. Lavdi day hava. It was not his day. It wasn't his day in the rotation to cook. From the day, but they told him Zil Apilon. They asked him to go Zil Apilon Ak. You go bake for us. And he told them with the money that you would pay me to bake. I'm assuming the reason why he was getting paid because it wasn't his day. It's on the money that you're going to pay me in then watch my clothing on top of vase. Ada asa igniv. And before he came back, it got stolen. So also look at the Rapapa Chayvinu. They came from the Rapapa and he said Chayiv. Some of the Rabban of the Rapapa, Hashmir B'Bailam, it was Shmir B'Bailam. Why should they be Chayiv? So Ichsev, he got embarrassed. The Saifi, like Milsa, the Ishata, Shikhrava Shasi. At that time, when it got stolen, he was still drinking. He didn't yet start the cooking. So Mamela, he is Potter. Right? I'm sorry, he's chayiv. It's not by Levima, so he's not pot. Fine. Hanu, now the Gemara has a couple of mice. Hanu Beitrei, to have a Kamasku Ba'orcha. There were two people that were Masku Ba'orcha, they were traveling on the streets. Excuse me. Chad Aruch, one guy was tall, but Chad Gutz, and one guy was short. Aricha Rachiv Chamra, the tall guy was riding a donkey. Vahavale Sedina Gutza. I'm sorry. He had a sadin, right, made out of pishton, of flax. Meaning he had linen. Gutza Mirsi Sarvela, the short guy, also had some sort of jacket or whatever it is. V'kamaski bekar, but he was walking on his feet. Kimatu l'nahara. So when it came to a river, so shakle l'sarvele v'aisvei lavechamra. He took off his wool jacket and he put it onto the chamor. And he took the jacket or whatever article of clothing from the guy riding, and he took it. Why? Rashi says because linen, when it gets wet, is much lighter. The wool is much heavier. So this guy's gonna have to be walking through the water, so he's gonna get wet. So he swapped out jackets with the guy on top of the guy that was riding on the chamor. So what happened is then the water washed away this guy's linen jacket. Also, look, I made the Rava. So it came from the Rava. Chayve. He said he's chayiv. Right? All he was a shoyel, and it was an einus, but he's chayiv. And with the Rabban of the Rava, my shayla b'bailam, it's shayla b'bailam, meaning because they swapped jackets. So if they swapped jackets, it was together with the bailam, so it should be potter. So ichsif. So Rava was embarrassed. The soifik loy milsa the belay daite shakle or belay daite oisve. They just did this. They both swapped jackets without each other knowing. Right? Because so at Mamela, since they did it without each other knowing, so therefore that's not considered by Levima. They're sort of, I guess, crooks. Right? Yeah, so that's so therefore that's why they're chayiv.
Why doesn't that make it worse?
What do you mean?
They're both shalei midas, Gazlan Alba.
Gazlan?
And then what says they're shalei midas.
Who cares? So, but he is chayiv. I mean, he's chayiv, right?
Yeah, there's no kefil. It's a gal. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, okay. Next story. Next story actually gets into the whole sugi of Chol Yisrael a little bit, I think. So who gavra the oiger lechamra lechavra. So it was this person who rented out a chamar to his friend. Amar le chazi. He says, "Look, like Tezel ba'archad and har Pekoid, do not go on the streets by the Pekoid River, Diika Maya, because there's water over there, and it might mess with the animals. Zil ba'archad the Naresh, go on the Naresh, where's the name of a street? The Leka Maya, there's no water there. So also ba'archad and har Pekoid mischamra. He didn't listen, and he went on the street that the owner told him not to go on. He also." So when he came back, Amar, he said, "Ein ba'orcha denhar pekoid azli." He says, "Yes, I went on the street that you told me not to go, the street by the river, but there was no water there, so I'm a total einus, and therefore I should be potter." Amar le Rabba male l'shakar. What? Why did he have to lie? Meaning that's a good old migu. He could have said to him, "I went in the street that you told me, and still something happened." Why didn't he do that? He could have, meaning if he's lying, he could have just lied and gotten away with it. Instead, he said the truth that he went on the street that he wasn't supposed to go, but he was an einus. So he should still be examined. I mean, it's a migo. If the guy wanted to lie, he could have just said, yeah, I didn't take it anywhere, and etc. But here he said he did. And an einus still happened, so he should be believed. So Amali l'shaka b'makom edim lo yamrinon. Amali l'shaka, when there's edim, we don't say. Meaning, where's their edim? What edim? There's no edim here, right? So what we're saying is that since everybody in town knows that there's always water on this street, so it's as if there's edim there, and we just don't believe this guy that there was no water there because he's going up against edim. So you see that we can call something edim as long as we know for sure about it, even though there might be people saying something against it. So again, I don't know if this has to do with Ramesh said to Chol Yisrael, but he's basically saying since we know for sure that it's got to be cow's milk, that's considered like edim, right? Anan Sadi, it's considered like edim, and therefore it's considered as if to the extent that a Yisrael even saw the milking. Right? Again, there's no edim here. We're just calling it edim. Fine. Okay. So he says to him, can you watch this item for me? And he tells him, put it down. So we say he's considered a Shem Rechino. And again, he didn't say put it down and I'll watch it for you. Just said put it down. He said put it down in front of me. So we're saying he's a Shem Rechino. If he says to him, put it down in front of you, he's not a Shem Rechinam and not a Shem Mesachim. Right? Meaning he's not responsible at all. Because he says, Hanach lefanecha. He didn't say put it down in front of me. He said put it down in front of you. Fine. So Hanach stamamai. What happens if he just said put it down? He didn't say in front of me, in front of you, so then what's the din? So Tashamash Marli Bamarloi Hanach Lefonai. It says if he says watch it for me and put it down, Shemechino. I'd say he's a Shemechino. Hastama Mashma, if he stam said put it down in front of me, Veloiklum, then he's nothing, then he's not a Shemer at all. So when it says Adarava, Midamar Ravhuna Hanach Lefonecha, who if when Rav Huna says he said put it down in front of you, that he's nothing. Hastama, Shemechino. But if it's a stam, then he's a Shemechino. So Ella Mehalek Lamashma Mina, you can't bring any rayas from this whatsoever. Fine. So then Lema Tanoi, let's say it's a Machlokas Tanoim. Im Hichnis Perishus, so we had this in Bava Kama. If a guy just brings an animal into your property and then something happens in your property and the animal gets damaged, so what's the din? Is the owner chayav or not? So the Brisa says, or the Mishnah says, Im Hichnis Perishus, if your owner told you to bring it in, then he obviously is taking a chrayas, so bal chotzer chayav, right? Then he's chayav. Rebbe and Bekulam ain't a chayav. Rebbe says, no, that's not true. In all these cases, he's not chayiv. He has to actually verbally say he is going to watch animal. Just by him telling you to bring it into his property is not enough to put the burden of a shmira onto him. So it's a machlokes tanoim. So we're saying the same thing here. If a guy says,
I apologize.
What?
I said Rabbi Yehuda instead of Rabbi. I got it wrong. I misquoted.
Yeah, so, right. It's close enough as Yehuda Nasi. All right, we'll let you get away with it. So anyway, so what do you see? That it's a machlokes tanaim, whether somebody just says, go into my chutzner, whether that's considered accepting on himself shmira or not. So the same thing, when he says to somebody, put it down, is that accepting shmira or not? So l'char it's the same machlokes tanaim. So then the Gemara says it's not the same machlokes. Mimai dilma ad kan lo kamer rabbanon hosam el b'chutzner the bas naturahi. That's only by a chutzner which is considered watched, right? A chutzner usually has a fence. And when he said, bring your animal in, ayel to interloch kamerle, he's saying, bring it into my property, and I'm going to watch it for you. But here it happened in the street. Labar naturiu, the street is not considered watched. Anafasiv not loch kamerle. Basically, what he said is, put it down and sit down, and you watch it. That's why he said, put it down. He didn't have any intent to watch it. Inami or adkan like Rabbi Hasam el b'chatzera. Rabbi only said it in his chutzner. Right? Meaning, where did Rabbi say that a chutzner doesn't work? And when the guy says, bring it to my chutzner, he's not being makabel shmira. Right? Because you need to take reshus, you need to get permission to go into somebody's yard. When he gave him reshus to go into it, he's saying, sit and you watch it yourself. Meaning, you have to get permission to not trespass, but that's it. So the guy gave you permission not to trespass. He doesn't mean he's going to take responsibility. But in the street, Hanach, when he says to put it down, when he says Hanach, he's saying put it down and I'm going to watch it. All right, this is an interesting lumdus. Because if the guy meant to say, here, no, put it down and you sit down and watch it. If he's saying, if he was just telling him to put it down, but he's not watching it, why does he need your permission to watch his own thing? Right? Why would you tell a guy comes to you in the B'shus Rav and says, can you watch my thing? And you say, put it down. What can you possibly mean by saying to put it down? What's the tzad that he said, put it down and I'm going to watch it for you, right? If that doesn't mean that, so why are you telling him to put it down and you watch it yourself? He doesn't need your permission to watch something in the street. He could watch it all on his own. He doesn't need your permission. So it must be by him saying the word Hanach, according to Rebbe, who, in the Rishus HaYachid, in the Chatzar, according to Rebbe says that was not an acknowledgement that he's going to watch it. But in Rishus HaRabban, it has to be, because otherwise, why would he tell you to put it down? Why would he tell you to put it down? Okay, we'll stop over there.